What? Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Good Data Morning Show. We just ran into a quickly difficulty here, but we're up and running. We have an amazing show for you today. We're going to talk about a data catalog. It's something dear to my heart because my expertise lies in data governance. And sorry, I skipped the introductions already, but I am George.
My name is Diana.
And as I mentioned, we will talk about that data catalog because sometimes you do need a tool. And not sometimes, actually, you do reach a point at one time in your being data-driven journey for an organization that you do require that tool in order to explore data, in order to find those insights, in order to govern it better, in order to manage the regulations a bit more, and really derive insights out of it. And you can't do it all in Excel, obviously. So you do need a tool, and a data catalog, as we'll see in this session, will take us there and more with a bunch of this. And of course, again, what's dear to my heart is that it does enforce and it does support data governance. So today we have a very exciting guest that is going to join us shortly.
Good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing our today's guest. Our today's guest is an ACE technologist turned entrepreneur. He has founded OvalEdge to blend his unique experience in big data technology and process management into creating a much-needed data management product. Before founding OvalEdge, our guest was a principal architect at innovative software firm Hortonworks, now merged with Cloudera. He has a nuclear engineering degree from IIT, the premier institute of technology in India. Technology Headline puts him in a list of top most successful Indian entrepreneurs in the US. Everyone, please welcome Sharad Varshni.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, George and Diana. Thank you for having us.
Welcome, Sharad.
Welcome, Sharad, and thank you very much for being here. I have a curiosity, something that I absolutely need to ask, and it is, how come you started your journey as a nuclear engineer? What was the dream behind that?
Oh, so nuclear engineering is just a passion I had at that time. And when I was doing the nuclear engineering, ultimately solving a lot of complex equations in nuclear engineering, I was solving through computer. And ultimately, because of the demand in computer was so high, and then I thought maybe it's time to move to the computer because I realized my love is solving more mathematical problems, and that's why I moved to computer science.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty different journey, but I had it.
Yeah, well, it's really very inspiring. We love the journey. So, Sharad, without further ado, tell us a little bit more about your company, about OvalEdge.
Oh, sure. So OvalEdge is a data catalog. It basically provides the various functions of the data governance for customers. We have data catalog which provide the data discovery. Then we also provide data access management for the customers. Not only that, you can also build your business glossary through it. We identify the lineage, which is also automatic, which can identify where the data come from, where it goes. We identify PII information and other confidential information very easily. So that is another part of the equations. And also, and not only that, we also have the comprehensive data quality management program, where you not only can understand the quality of the data, but also because it's allow you to do the data cataloging literacy, so it allow you to manage the quality of the data. You can not only write the rules, but also ask questions from your colleagues or from the organization. They can report the problems, and it's a comprehensive data quality program. And then it goes to the data certification program, which basically let you certify the data, which creates the trust in the data. So it's a comprehensive data governance solution, which lets you do not only just the data cataloging, but throughout the journey of the data governance, which allows that. So that's what in a nutshell the data solution is. We started this journey about 6 years ago. when I left Hortonworks and started creating this product. It took us about 3 years to build the product. So it's not like a very simple product which can be built very quickly. It took us quite a bit of time to build it, and then we acquired some major round of funding from a private equity firm, and then since that we come into scalability mode, and after that we started scaling the company and started acquiring a lot of customers. So that's the journey so far. And the next year we're supposed to get more and more customers and solve a lot of governance pain point. So in a nutshell, that's the journey we have so far.
Well, it's an incredible journey, and really building something from the ground up. I feel it's immensely rewarding. And what's great is, as you're getting feedback from your customers, as you're building it, you can adjust and you can implement those features that customers are asking for. So I think there's a great opportunity there too. And I assume maybe that's why you have so many incredible features as part of the platform.
This is absolutely right. We actually very much customer-driven organization. We have a totally, not only our biggest department is actually the customer success department, which take care of all the customer issues, make sure that they are implemented correctly, and then we deliver it. And we listen to the customers very carefully, what the problems are, and then we try to solve the most innovative way. So that it can be solved. But when we are solving it, we are not solving for one customer, we are solving for all of them. So we keep in mind that this is a problem which needs a solution, but also need a comprehensive strategy to solve the problem. So not only the best practices comes with it. So we do not only just provide the features into the system. We also learn what the best practices are, and then we share the best practices amongst all the customers. So it's kind of a comprehensive approach to the data governance.
Great. So why don't we just go and look at that solution, walk us through some of the features, and I'm sure we're going to have a few questions along the way too.
I want to say something before that. Something that struck me when I look at the website were the testimonials, and they were saying things like, what it would otherwise take me about a year to achieve, I can get it done by using OvalEdge in 2 months. Wow. I found that amazing.
Yeah.
And then another one, earlier I spent 70% of my time looking for data, and now with OvalEdge, I only spend 5% of my time in data search. So for me, that says a lot. It also says that you don't need to have extraordinary abilities to be able to use OvalEdge and to make good use of the data, which is amazing. So Sharad, please introduce us to OvalEdge.
Sure. I think the picture worth 1,000 words, so similarly, this showing the demonstration is the best way to introduce OvalEdge to all the audience, right? So
absolutely.
Let me share my screen and show you the product. I think I'm already sharing it. So can everybody see the screen?
Yep. And I'll just make it bigger.
Wonderful.
There you go.
Yeah. So as you can see that, so this is our one application kind of a screen, which I want to demonstrate that how does it work. So generally the data is there, if you see it, is in various systems, and the systems are integrated, and the data from these systems migrate generally to data warehouse, data lake, and after that data moves through the visualization system, data applications, and that's the typical life cycle of the data is, right? What we are doing is we are building, so nothing is going to change as is. Everything will remain as is. You can bring more data warehouses, you can also bring cloud data warehouse, whatever you want to do it. What we do is we connect to from applications to all the way to the visualization system. We connect to those systems, we crawl the metadata, then we profile the data, and then we build the lineage and relationships, which is also automatically. I think, can the customer see these screens or all the audience?
Yep.
Yes.
So Sharad, so that automatically piece, how does that happen? So you just create the connection, you select what systems you want to connect to, what databases you want to connect to, and then based on the tables that it identifies, it sees the
lineage. So
relationship
is actually built by parsing the source code, and the relationships are built by understanding the data and it identifies, the data, like city data is in this city, and then another data is in another table. They both are matching together, so they kind of see very quickly by themselves. So the algorithms are the one which basically builds those lineage and relationships. And I'm going to walk through that. How does it automatically?
Perfect. And that's definitely a time saver as well. Oh, so she'll be saying that cannot see Sharad's screen. So she'll be, what can you see?
Yeah, I see both of you, in those windows, but I don't see Sharad's screen.
So,
Can you see us now?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were able to see it.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
So that's good.
Perfect. So we do have a couple of questions that are coming in. If you don't mind, if we can address them first. So Scott Taylor, the data whisperer, is asking, what is the best way to explain the value of a data catalog to a business leader who doesn't care about the technical side?
So I think the best way to explain that is data to value. The maximum thing which you get is like the data teams are struggling to get data to value. And why they are struggling? Because there are various pain points to them. And these pain points are solved by data catalog. So if you see that, this is generally a typical data governance cycle you will see. So you will see that, I need a data, somebody needs a data. So it's a very complex and confusing mess. What we are doing we are simplifying this whenever you need to data. So you can search it, you can analyze it, you can approve the data access request, you can collaborate it, you can standardize it. So everything is done very quickly. So what it provides you, the ability to do it faster, and the time to value is the key of making the analytics faster. And that's where you want to do it. That's the value of the systems. Yeah. And that's why we are achieving this. So some of the advantage of that is very simple. Is these are the various GDPR fines you have. The governance is the advantage. The time to value, where the data scientist can do much more faster things, and you can improve the quality of the data. So this is one of the studies saying that we got US is wasting about $3.1 trillion worth of money. So this is a IBM study, which
absolutely. That's a mind-blowing figure, and we are looking at some comparisons. And for $1 trillion, you can basically buy all the apartments in San Francisco, which tends to be quite expensive. They're around $1 million or so each, average, if not more now. And so you can buy all the apartments and really basically give all those apartments to the population of San Francisco for $1 trillion, and then you still have $2.1 trillion to spare. So it's a huge number. It's unfathomable. Yeah. And this 60% piece that he had in there on what data scientists are spending, yes, and and part of the other 60% is also finding that information. So as one of your reviews mentioned, it really saved them so much time. I forgot what the number that we're mentioning was, but
I don't know.
It's I think from 75% they went down to 5 to 10% of the time, because ultimately the data scientists are the one who is the most critical resource in any of the data value creation organization. And if they are starved for the resources, your entire pipeline is broken, because that's a critical mass, and you don't want a critical element in the system. So you want your data scientists to be most efficient. So you want to provide them all the data tools and the data ability to find the data very quickly, rather than go and sending the emails to everyone and figuring out where the data is. So that is the vast value of this. You get it.
Absolutely. So can you show us an example of how do you find the data that you want? If you want a particular...
So say, for example, I want to find the customer data. So I simply go find customers, and it will give us various kind of data elements to it. It will give you the business glossary, or the reports you are looking for, the tables, or whatever information you have it. Let's say I want to go and find the tables. So I will see that. I will see that, what kind of, like this data do really have some ratings, which just came up. These are the number of rows this table has.
That's user-generated ratings from people that have used this before.
And if I like this information, then I can see this. Yes, this is the data warehouse exactly. This is the schema name, the table name, and all the description around it, what exactly it is, who is actually using this, who is the owner, who is the steward, how can I collaborate with them? If I have a question, I can ask them, what kind of what kind of numbers are these there? So if I'm looking for city, then I can see that, okay, the city is good, but I have 531 cities in the entire 4,000 tables, and these are the top cities are there. The Los Angeles have the maximum data, and I can very easily understand that. What states really have it. Oh, these are the number of states which the data is coming from, and this is only United States data. If you look at the data here, you can also look at the data here, but it's very difficult to understand that, what exactly it contains. But this profiling information provides you the ability to learn very quickly and understand that. And then if you have questions, you can ask the questions from your colleagues, and you can see the more details around it here. And you can also see its relationship. Its relationship means that how this data is interlinked with other systems. So this is dimension table linked with fact table. Then you can go to the fact table to see more information around that what exactly these fact tables are. Then you can see the relationship of this fact table to multiple other tables. So it's an interlinking part of that, how the data is linking here and there. And then you can see that, from the lineage, how this data is coming. Like this fact table is coming from these tables, and which code is using it, what kind of dashboard is going to.
And that's the code to transform it
Transform it, yes. Yeah. And then you can see the dashboard itself. And then you can not only see that, you can also see the dashboard, what exactly the dashboard is. So it will, so it's like, wherever the dashboard is coming from. So you can see the dashboard, you can see its information from it, that, what exactly this is coming from. It's a comprehensively comes from it.
It's very comprehensive.
Because it's all thing done automatically. So you do not have to worry. And otherwise, if you have to document this, it will take you forever, right? So you do not want to document manually, but you can fix manually as well. So you can do that part as well. And then you can collaborate in any aspect of that. So
is there also a way to, as you do have and see the code that's transforming it, are you able to?
You can go to literally the source code and then see what the queries are really doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the source code, what query it is, and how this is building this lineage. And so you can see the source code and associated to it, and what kind of associations it's having. But mostly around, you can see the source code, you can see the tables, you can see the columns, every information you can see it, and very comprehensively you can see that.
Are you able to add some business documentation as to maybe what was the rationale for transforming it this way, or are you able to add any notes?
Yes, you can add notes wherever you want to. So suppose you want to see this, you can add the notes in the summary page here of this description, as well as you can also go, let me go to the back of it. And you can go back to the application. You can also see that, so you can click on this to see what kind of column mapping it is having. So for example, this dashboard have various fields. So you can see those fields, what kind of mapping it is having. You can also put their own descriptions about it, that, what kind of mapping it is there, why it is there, when it is getting transformed, all kinds of notes you can put into it.
Yeah.
All this information it can be given here.
Well, you're making great use of data visualizations too.
Yeah, this is it's a part of that. It basically allows you to not only to visualize the data, but the objective is to allow people to go and find the data quickly and understand it. I think the finding is the problem. A lot of people were solving it, but the problem is that the one part is that, one thing I want to explain here is that the difficulty is that when you find the customer information, you want to know that, okay, what all this information about the customers we have it. Not only this one, I don't know whether this is the right one, or this is the right information, or this is the right information. So you need the ability to very quickly understand the data, right? So it is important not only by its business description, by its comments. You need the ability to quickly go and understand it. That's why the profiling information and the relationship and the lineage aspect all is very important, because the data scientists need to make a decision that which data set to choose, or whether should I join those 2 data sets or 3 data sets. So that is why not only finding the right data is important, but understanding of that and quickly understanding that is where the time to value comes, which we allow to kind of quickly find the data, but also not only quickly find it, but understand the data very quickly as well. And then it's also have various statistics like popularity, how popular this data is, how important it is. So popularity keep driving as much as people are using the more and more data, its popularity will keep going up. The importance goes up if we have a lot of connectivity to the data, so its importance is up. So if the data is highly important, you cannot get rid of it, because it gives you the ability to understand that this is a lot of people are using this information.
Absolutely,
so
the power of the crowd.
Yeah, so it's kind of like popularity, importance is there to kind of understand that. So this is just one part of this OvalEdge, which is the data discovery aspect, which allow you to very quickly find the data and discover the data through the tool experience. So this is a technical activity which kind of have to be done, like crawling, profiling, lineage building, relationship building. Once that is done, now users can very easily find the data, right? But then there is a lot more to it, right? The governance is not only just the finding and understanding the data, but there is a lot more to it. Like, how do we make sure that people have right access to the data, right? That is the key part. Then how do you make sure that there is a confidential data is not shared? How do you make sure that there is a quality of the data is consistent? So there are various aspects of that, and that is what the OvalEdge various other features are there, which will keep managing all other aspects of the data as well. So for example, there is a PII data, right? That's so for example, like here, you do want to share this data. So people say, hey, we cannot create the data catalog, because if we share the data, then everybody's data is shared and exposed. Then what about the PII information? What about the information which is confidential? Like, you can't put your HR data because the salary information is there and everybody's salary is exposed. So really, because of those governance rules, you cannot create the data catalog, right? And give access to everyone. And that basically we tackle it through the business glossary and standardization of the data. So what you do you create a domain, and kind of from there you create your own domain, and then say, okay, these are all the PII information we have it, like for example, social security number.
And Sharad, out of curiosity, usually what do you see organizations, how many domains do they create? Is there a handful, up to 10?
Generally, I would say up to 10. 10 is the right number. Yeah, generally the privacy is one of the domain, the confidentiality is one of the domain, and the organization level, the business glossaries are one of the domain where they want to keep it. And I think that the domain nature of OvalEdge versus you will see a typical domain in the organization, but we call it categories. You will find much more, and depending upon the organization to organization, we work a lot more in healthcare and banking space. So you will see somewhere about 10 to 20s.
Wow. Yeah, 20 is definitely quite up there.
Quite a bit number of domains and categories you will see.
And sorry for interrupting. I just want to put Rabbit Show, Rabbit from the Rabbit Show, who's mentioning that OvalEdge is really killing it with data governance. Very cool, and we agree with you.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. So what we want to do is, say for example, you have social security number. So the one problem if this social security number is that you can go and mask the information of social security number. So all the data which is associated to the social security number in various table would be masked. So now if I'm looking for the data, for example, if I came up with this information here, and I'm looking at other employee ID and other information, I can see this information. But as soon as I go to the social security number, then I cannot look at the social security number because this has been masked, right? And then the problem comes if, you have to do it manually, all this work, because then you have to mask, you have to associate all this information. For that, we have built the machine learning algorithms. So what it does is that it learns from itself. So for example, you have put the social security number. So you basically go and associate one or two social security number to it. And once you do it, then you can come for the recommendation and ask for more recommendations here. And this will give you, okay, this is a social security number as well, or this is a social security number as well. So it will give you the recommendations for it. And you can say, is this a right recommendation or not? So most of our time is, it takes about 2-week time frame for entire organization to find all the PII information in that. And then you can just go and associate all the PII information for the entire organization. And it is one-time activity because now you have identified that, and that's it. Means after that, whenever the new information comes, our model is very well trained at that time. And then after that, it's just whenever the new information comes up, it's generally pretty highly accuracy that they will be our algorithm will be able to find that, because it knows that social security number is actually the SSN field, right? It's not the field name. So it knows that what field name is doing it, what activity. And that's why it's very easy to identify that information, that what you like, for example, the credit card number is another one, or whatever information you want to use it. So it will identify that, oh, this is the credit card number, and the recommendations comes according to that. Oh, the credit limit is the recommendation. So based on that, the recommendation comes, and then you can apply that recommendation to identify that.
Jared, we have a question here. Manjunata asks, strategically, how does the data catalog help handle the known unknowns for the business real time?
Known unknowns. I'm not getting the. Do you want to elaborate, George, what the question really means?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out as well, Manjunata, if you can have a follow up on this, on the known unknowns, that would be wonderful. But we have a couple other questions that we can address meanwhile, if you don't mind. One is from Ed. Nice to see you here. How easy is to integrate to legacy systems? For example, running a very old Oracle version.
Yeah, so we comes out of the box with probably, I think, 70 different connectors. And we have, so any systems like out of the legacy systems like SQL Server, Oracle, all those things, as well as new systems like Snowflake or Power BI, anything, we connect out of the box. So it's as simple as that. You go and connect. Say, for example, you want to connect to Oracle, then you simply connect to, say, Postgres or Oracle, whatever it is. So you simply connect it. It will ask for various parameters to connect, and it's just connect and crawl it. So it's a one-time activity. You connect it, and then you put the drivers there, and then it connects to it.
Beautiful.
It uses the native APIs of all these systems and to build the connector. And that is the the one time we see, as I said, we are a very customer obsessed organization. So most of the time it happens that, we have 100 applications, and 100 applications are built around 7 different databases. We support like 6 databases or 6 applications. We do not support the 7th one. We generally go and create the database and connector to them. So all of this connector actually built by the customer's requirement, and this one. And there are a lot more. Customers are even the connectors are even in the pipeline, which may not be visible here, but they are already available. These are all in production right now. Some custom connectors are in development stage. So they should be, generally every month we have a couple of connectors live.
It's great to really see how reticent you are to the feedback and the requests that you're getting from the customers. And Ravid was mentioning really the same thing, that it really looks like it's very user-friendly platform, and clearly you can see the customer obsession. So for sure. And yes, you have answered Rajendra's question with all these connectors that you do have in here. And Manjunatha did get back to us. Thank you so much. And he was clarifying that he was referring to risks. So to go back to the question is, strategically, how does data catalogs help handle those risks related to data in real time? So things like all this PII stuff.
PII information. So I think that the risk is data risk is a complex subject. Then generally, if you see that I think that compliance is the area where, if you see that, generally comes under the risk mitigation, right? So if you see from the compliance perspective, right? I want to show you something. So if you see from the compliance perspective, we do support various compliance activity like GDPR, CCPA, etc. We have a very comprehensive solutions of that. So generally, if you see that every compliance asks you to do these many activities. You have to appoint the ownership of the data. You have to make sure you're creating awareness in the organization. You know what privacy information you have it. You're classifying the data. You're documenting the data lineage. You are putting the right to know and delete. So we have the feature sets available for taking care of all the compliance, and which covers that. So it always comes up, okay, what if a specific, say for example, there is a social security number, what if it is naked? And naked in the sense it's not masked and it's not has been identified. And that is where I think the governed collaboration comes in, right? Say for example that we have the ownership and stewardship assigned at the organization at the domain level. Now let's say that if I see some information, now if I'm doing the data discovery and the data literacy, if I see some information that, oh, this is a social security number, and I'm searching the social security number or some number which I can see that it may be available. Let's say this is the number, and I have not masked this information, right? This is social security number came out to be naked. I can simply say that, oh, this number is masked. So I can say that, okay, go ahead and apply a service request to that request content change. And I can say, okay, there should be a term should be associated with it, which should be the social security number. So I can ask that from them that it should be the social security number should be associated with it. And once this request would be approved, then this would be approved to the social security number. Or you can simply report to the owner of that, hey, this seems like there's a social security number is not, it's naked. Why? How can I see this information when I'm not right to it? So sometimes it may be possible that you are allowing it to be open, but that's a governed with a collaboration part of that, which allow you to completely do this. So that one-time activity, like that's why the data literacy and the compliance and everything have to be work together. It's not only one person responsibility to mask all this information. Sometimes people use different field names, people use different kind of information maybe the AI couldn't pick up, and that's where the collaboration kicks in. So there the multiple aspects of the governance comes up where not this you cannot, as multiple people are involved in it, so the responsibility is also divided quite a bit using that.
Absolutely. And Shirley was mentioning as well that she does see these risks. The known unknowns is the gaps that they have identified in their data environment, and catalogs help zoom in to the gaps, and that's how it really helps, at least at a tactical level. Absolutely, Shirley.
Yeah.
We have a question from Adam. Does the program link to the physical data elements where they exist?
Yes, we connect to the data sources, and we can tell you where exactly it exists. And you can also put the more like how do you connect to it. You can put more details around that as well, or you can keep it open. So you can also request access to it. For example, if I log in as not a system administrator, and if I log in as a, say, Sophia or somebody like that, right? The one thing I would see is that like my access is not that much. So I have limited access. So that one I would see. But I also can see that, okay, suppose I'm not sure whether I have access or not. If I go there and I do not have access to the data, I can simply go and request access. And say, hey, I do not have access to the data. I want a read permission or write permission. And why you need permission, you need to ask it. And you can also put your expiration date here. No, I did for 6 months or 9 months, and because of experimentation.
That's great, because then that's traceable and you can see who, when was able to access.
And then you can see that, okay, who's going to approve it? What is the, who is the approver there? And because the owner is approver, or you can customize your own workflow in that. But that's for the system user. For the business user, it's very easy that, okay, I can see the data, I can understand it, but if I don't have access, I can ask for access and you will get it. And not only you will get it in OvalEdge, but you will also get it in the actual system, because we have the APIs which integrate directly to the native systems as well. So you can very easily integrate with your Snowflakes or data warehouse or data lakes, and that access is given to there so that they can go and log in there. And then now that is available. Because if you do not have access in your data warehouse, then you don't have access. You don't know what you don't have access to it. Here you can
Right.
come and search whatever the system you have it, because you have at least the metadata access for everything. And then you can research and find out that, and you realize, yes, you did get access. You can ask for access and you will give it the access there. So that access management is another area which OvalEdge helped quite a bit to for all of our customers.
And that really ties into what Adam is asking here as a follow-up, if there are any security levels incorporated to allow different levels of users to see different information, such as the PII.
Yeah. So again, this is like we have a very comprehensive, what do you call it, a security mechanism in that, where every data is managed through a complex security module, where you define the roles. In the define role, you define permissions to it, whether you want to allow the metadata or not, what kind of permissions of the data you want to give. So you can define these permissions, and that basically build the role, and then build the roles, kind of give the permissions to it. And then these permissions is available in OvalEdge. Then if you want them go back to the original systems, it can also go back to the original system and can apply those permissions there too.
Great. And then are you able to audit these in any way to really, again, see when
auditing is a part of the system. So there is a whole auditing feature where you can see all the information that who audited that kind of the information is also available.
That's great. Now,
I have a more of a high-level question, and if it's not the right time, Sharad, you can just stop me. But I was wondering, how does an organization start with OvalEdge?
Okay, so Oval actually do not have any edge in it, right? So when you create an edge in Oval, that means the life begins. That's basically the breaking of egg kind of thing. So Oval is the egg. So the life is a value, and what we are saying is that data to value. So OvalEdge provides all the roadblocks which comes to the creating the value from the data. That's what we are trying to do.
I love that.
And the domain name is available as well. So the domain name is the key these days for any naming. So that's the purpose. I think the motto is our motto is to create the value.
Yeah, I love the motto. It's to create the aha moments quicker without breaking your budget.
Yeah,
it's great.
And it's our pricing is also very competitive, and it's also based on the value you are creating. If you're not creating any value, you are paying very little. If you're creating more value from the data, then you're paying. So that's because the number of users who are using it, or the number of data source you are connecting is dependent upon that. So even if you want to start just the data governance program very quickly, you can do it very much more cost effectively. And then as your data governance grow in your organization, then you will pay more. So that's a pretty fair pricing we are coming up, rather than you starting a very upfront, a very comprehensive data governance program, then you're buying a tool which costs you millions of dollars. It's not like that.
Right. Now, we have a few people in the data science field here and machine learning, AI, and Manjunath is really asking if you've seen any typical challenges that are addressed by a combination of data catalogs and machine learning capabilities for organizations.
Yeah. So we use machine learning to enhance the data, but ultimately the data catalog, the only challenge which we are solving for data scientists is their ability to find and understand the data quickly and easily, right? So that is for the data scientists we are doing it. Then we find the relationships and all the other aspects using machine learning part. So we use machine learning to give you that experience of the data. Then ultimately the data to use this for machine learning, that's the other tools you will use, whether it's a TensorFlow or whatever the algorithms you would use, that you would do it. We do not provide any tool sets within our system to kind of provide you the machine learning experience. We use is internally machine learning to provide you that. So that's a different kind of like understanding of that.
Beautiful. And we have another question here from Bill. for GDPR CCPA right to edit and delete, can OvalEdge actually do the remediation, or do you do that outside of the
That's
platform?
a very, very good question, a very deep question. For that, what we have built is called governed data query. So this is something is because GDPR right to know. So what it does is that it gives you that, okay, you can put your first name, last name, email number, social security number. It goes and find this information across the data sources and give you the results, okay, you can see that, okay, where exactly and how many entries are found and something like that. So it's a 0 entries found, but it gives you the ability to do that. So it is really built for that. We do not, when you find this information, you can also write advanced. So we have certain like jobs where you can write. We also provide you the deletion functionality, but we do not recommend to delete directly from the databases because there may be some referential integrities and something directly. So it's out of the box is not covered the deletion part, and it's just because we do not think that the deletion is should be done through APIs rather than directly from the databases. So we do provide, but you can find the information. If you want to delete it, you can write an advanced job to delete that information as well. And we also have that relationship advanced job already out of the box, which you can configure it, but you have to configure it to delete it. But
Right.
we will be able to find this information for right to know and right to delete from across hundreds of databases through that. And that's the part of the, because and the advantage of this is that, let's say that any other solution you will build other than that, you have to query everything to everything. Now the advantage of this is that because we identify where the PII information is, so we only query those columns and those tables where the PII information is, and we find out, okay, where a specific person exists or not. So we already, the IT resources is very limited is needed. And it only takes few minutes to find and identify from all the data sources whether the specific person exists in the databases or not.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the most cumbersome part, to actually make sure you're finding all that information everywhere and that you're not missing it somewhere. So I see that as the biggest value. Adam has also another question here that's more related to the business glossary and probably data dictionary portions and features of the data catalog. And does it allow aliases used by different organizations to tie into that official term?
Yes, we have the business glossary where you can tie up the terms. I think that let's say you can say the first name and then it's tied to the last name, full name. So you can put your related terms into the related terms, and you can tie those terms into it, and then you can tie the terms, appropriate term to the data element, and the term to term you can tie within them as a related terms.
Beautiful.
And if you tie one thing to another, that another thing is automatically tied to it. So it's much more easier to navigate to it, all these aspects. And you can also navigate through here, and you can very quickly search it. It's we're trying to make it very user friendly so that user can very easily find by themselves doing it.
And are you able to keep adding attributes to the business glossary if you want to capture any other information about the terms?
Like additional information is there. We allow up to 50 fields to be added by through custom fields. So you can go to the configuration custom fields and you can add as many custom fields. And not only the text, we allow the code kind of fields, which is like you can put your own code, the number or date. So any kind of fields you can, not only that, so the code one is very important because it allows you to put your own fields into that. So that it's very easy to, so that, like, for example, if I have this, so I put this code there, so you can only select that specific code into it, and the date field or something like that. So date, you can add as many fields to it. So you can add 50 fields, which is more than enough for any customers to put additional information there.
Absolutely. Oh, so sure, this is such a comprehensive product. So far, it looks like it is really serving, data risk officer, data privacy officers very well as obviously the data governance office and data stewards. not to even mention the data analysts, data scientists, business intelligence professionals that need to find this data and understand it better and get those insights, understand those business terminologies more, the context, the relationships, where they can find what. Did I miss anything?
I think that's the main part. The big part of this OvalEdge is data quality management, right? So how do we improve the quality of the data over the period of time, right? So
how does the data catalog help with that? How does OvalEdge help with that?
Yeah,
with the data
so that is a very so if you see that there are various aspects of the data quality, right? So you have the dimensions of the data quality, then you have the data quality tools. So it starts by identifying the problem. So the first thing is that, say you saw a problem somewhere about the data quality, right? So let's say that states can't have more than 100 rows which have spaces, right? So anything problem you see it somewhere. Let me go there. Right. So you see the data, and if you see a problem somewhere, now you see the customer name, and let's say the customer name is having a null value somewhere, right? Which you've realized that this is not allowed as part of the data. So you can simply say, as a part of the collaboration, like credit limit, and this is there, the distinct 3 values, there's a null count is 0, that's fine. But let's say there's a null values here. So you can simply come here and say, report the data quality problem. And you can tell this is now the advantage here is that it's already know where exactly it is. And you can say that the credit limit can't be more than $50,000 or something. How come you have a credit limit which is $2 million? We do not support this. The business functions of the data quality. So you create the request of it. The advantage here is that when the data is this request will go to the right person based on the steward of that person, and then the steward can say, okay, this is the right information. Yes, it makes sense that this should not be there. I can approve the request. And now it will go to the appropriate person there, and then it will say that, okay, how do I see that where the field is? Let me conduct some impact analysis of where else this field is going or where it is coming from. What would be the impact of it? Because if there's a problem, that means that downstream there is a problem, upstream there is a problem, right? So you will be able to understand that. You understand the root cause analysis. You find out that once you understand the root cause, then you can fix that root cause. And then after the fixing of the root cause will happen within the pipeline, right? So wherever the source codes are, where the reports are, that have to be done manually, but you can manage the work here. You can manage this, these are the problems which we have to fix it. Then once it is done, it will not happen again in future. For that, you can write your rules. So you can say that, okay, I want to write some rules about the data quality, and the first name can't be null, so that it will every day check this information for me, the rule, and whenever it is happening, it will if there is any information goes wrong, it will alert you. It will notify you that, hey, on these when we ran the job, it didn't run. So you can see the history, but you'll be, if then something goes wrong, you can say, okay, create the ticket for me or create an alert for me. So the alert will create it, and then you can collaborate on it and then say, okay, why it happened, and you can find out the root cause of it. So the first thing, it's a complete cycle of the data quality management. What we provide is it's a very the comprehensive part is that it allow you to so it's allow you to define and then measure and analyze, improve, and control on it. And that's the part where we are going through it. That especially the measurement part, where you can collect all the data quality problems, you can analyze it by data profiling, data lineage, you can improve upon it, and then after that, once it is done, you can control on it. So that's where you are reducing slowly the data quality issues within the organization. There's no one type, there's no one solution where all the data quality will be fixed automatically. It's a process which will let you easily do that part.
I like how you're anticipating Adam's questions. So, and you know what else I do like about what you're offering here is all these little guides that you're presenting to us too, that seem to be coming with a package. So it really I think they kind of also help inform the strategy and the steps that one needs to take with the help of the tool and outside of the tool. So it's great that you've incorporated all that information here too. It's like a mini course that you can take.
Yes, and it takes a while to kind of explain the entire product to the because I believe a lot of audience here is very known known to the data governance community. That's why I was not going to the advantage of the data catalog and some information. I was mostly focused on the technical aspect, that how do we do that. But if somebody really want to know the business value of the data governance, what exactly you can log into the system, and there is a whole together is approaches are there as well, where you can say what kind of business governance business users have the problem, what kind of problem data team generally have it, what kind of people data management team have it, and this is why are we solving these issues. So we catalog it, then we collaborate it, and we comply with it. So it's kind of like simple approach to define the solution. That's how we're trying to do that.
Well, you know what? This is very helpful for the technical teams as well. Sometimes when they're being asked by the business side, I think it's a good way to reference to these guides and come up with some of those answers that they're being asked.
Yeah.
And Alberto is mentioning here, if you can give a closer look or an example of the lineage capability. And I know you've covered this early on in the presentation. So Alberto, if you don't mind, as the session will close, the replay will become available right away, so you can look at watching those first 10 minutes or so where Sharad is going more in detail on that data lineage.
For sure, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so from the business side, just a few more minutes, if you're available. I wanted to ask, so how long does it take for an organization to implement the tool? How many people approximately are needed minimum to manage it, and how long is the training, or how long does it take for them to actually feel confident in using it?
Yeah. So generally, how does it happen is that you can do it at the organization level, data governance implementation, or you can do it at the department level, right? Generally speaking, we like the approach of implementing at the department level. Then after one department or one business unit, then you go to another department, and then you bring the entire organization to it. If you do at the big bang at the top level, then the chances of implementation becomes very slow, and it's a big bang, it's an agile versus a big bang approach, right? So we have agile, you create a department first. So for a department, what we have come up is that you generally need a data governance manager or data governance officer to start the program. So you need a one person as a management role. Then after that, the data owners and data stewards are shared. That means that people generally in the data warehousing unit or data applications or somewhere from the business analyst community, they become data owner and steward. And you will also need a governance engineer. We also work with you to provide that resource if you need to do it, for the initial time frame. So somebody have to do the crawling, profiling, building the lineage, running those algorithms, and all this work, the technical work have to be done. For that, you need a governance engineer. It generally takes about 2 to 3 weeks to start the program, to start having few simple installation of the software plus all this crawling and profiling, to few months. So in a large organization, we did it a very large implementation. It took us about 3 months to get complete data cataloged, and which have about 1 million data assets altogether, right? So very large organization, it took us 3 months. Smaller organization, about 2 weeks. So 2 week to 3 month time frame, you can imagine, takes about getting all the data assets in place. Now, programs might run longer, right? The programs will run forever. Like data quality program will never finish, in my opinion, right?
Good.
So those.
That's a good message to get out there.
Yeah, because there is always issues would be there. You will keep solving those issues. So, and then you can start working on different programs for different things. So that's how we generally propose that way.
So we have another question here from Bill, and I don't think Sharad minds at all. if you can explain the business model, is it priced by user, by connection, by data volume, all?
So it's priced by two things, by user and the number of connection it uses. So it's only two things. So if you want to do it very basic with few users and few data connections, it's probably like you can contact us. It's not very expensive at all.
Yeah, and definitely I recommend checking out the website, which you can see it right here, OvalEdge.com. And you can definitely have a look at all their resources, blog, data lake wiki, data catalog wiki, a lot of webinars as well, white papers that are worth seeing. And you can also just click on pricing and find out a little bit more of the affordability and the flexibility of the solutions that they do provide here.
Yes.
So another thing that we're having here from Jonathan, as we're running out of time, but he's asking if you have a recommendation on if you choose to onboard the entire organization or just one department, one business unit at a time, and also if OvalEdge provides any tools to help with the duplication of records across different business lines.
Yeah, so deduplication can be found through algorithms, and we have the tools to identify this. There are various advanced tools are there. So one of the tool is to find the duplicate records. But we generally recommend to go department by department implementation, but use one platform. Like, do not create multiple catalog for multiple things. Use one catalog, but go one department implementation, then after do another department implementation, then after do another department implementation, and then go after with that. So that's the approach. You should take it functionally or business wise, but technically you want to keep it one catalog so that people can search it within one catalog. But implementation should happen department by department.
Yeah, and that's really one of the data governance. That's one of the data governance best practices as well, to just have one data catalog for the entire enterprise.
Yeah, but we have seen like a lot of our customers as well. They are creating multiple data catalog within the company. The companies are very large. It depends upon companies to companies. Sometimes there are various different challenges. There's we will manage their different data catalog. So you will also see that the one catalog for one department, another catalog in another department. But what we call it is whatever is right for the business, that is the right approach. But if you are using even multiple OvalEdge instances to create different data catalog, then after that you can bring it together as well. I think the data catalog implementation is just like a typical. It used to be a typical SAP implementation or typical ERP implementation. So ERP, now you see one giant ERP. Back old days, it was not one giant ERP. It was used to be various applications, and then you merge together. So it's kind of that, because it's not that much a technical challenge. It's more a business challenge, the business adaptability, what programs this department want to use, what the other program want to use, and those are the business challenges. I would not see these as the technical challenges.
Absolutely, very well said. Now, as we're drawing to a close here, any parting words? Is it okay if people get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. Please. My email is svarshne@ovaledge.com, or you can also see it info@ovaledge.com. Any information you need from that's easy to remember. All the resources are available.
LinkedIn would also be an option too.
Yeah, LinkedIn is very well option. LinkedIn, you reach out to me or anyone in OvalEdge through LinkedIn, or we are available, and we are very customer obsessed organization. So whenever you have any problem, we are happy to jump on that very quickly.
I like that, and the feedback and the reviews that you're getting really says a lot about how you're treating your customers and how appreciative they are. So please go check out ovaledge.com and find out a little bit more information before you're taking your next step.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much, George.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. The Good Data Morning Show. Thanks,
and for all your comments and all your questions. Again, if there are any follow-ups, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.